Okay, so you will need at some point today to be near a wall or something very sturdy like a wall. And I need you to grab, if you don't have a yoga block, get like two books stacked on top of each other, or even like three books or something. If you do need something like this, is maybe about 6 inches tall. So go ahead and grab that. And then I usually sit up on something to start off, just to kind of be easy on the hips. I think this beanie's gonna keep my earbuds in, so that just might be the way that I practice from now on. We're gonna do just some neck and shoulder work today. Of course, kind of getting everywhere, but really working into like this upper realm. Um, I I've got this book that I can't wait to get back to. It's by Amor Towles. It's called A Gentleman in Moscow, and it's beautifully. I love stories where the characters are really well developed, and so I'm really enjoying that. And while I was reading just a while ago, I was noticing how good the main character of the book is at being with what is, at being with reality. And he comes into he gets these points where he gets really caught up in the past, where that starts to be like where his conflict develops, but he is happiest at the points where he is existing in the present. This main character, he used to be in the Russian nobility, and after the fall of that empire, he was banished to just live in this hotel in like some crummy rooms in this hotel, and he had to live completely under house arrest. And he comes at one point to join as the head waiter in the restaurant, and he didn't need to work. Like, he's under house arrest, but he still had all of his family's resources. He just doesn't have the nobility, the title, and the freedom to move around like he used to. But he realized that that was one of his greatest joys, was being a part of the way that the restaurants and the serving worked in the hotel. And so he's like, well, I need something to do with my time. I feel like I have purpose here. And he becomes the head waiter at the restaurant. And it was really striking to see just he didn't even have, like, it just was like, this is the thing I should be doing. And it just became very clear because he was living out his days where he was essentially forced to be completely present in in this one building is where he has to be forever. And so he just started to get really good at being good with being in the building, good with being with what is, because he didn't have any other alternatives. This is what is. This is my reality, and how do I work best in this reality? And you would probably never would have imagined, 20 years before all of this goes down, that anybody in some royal existence would be choosing to wait tables and to manage people waiting tables. But because his circumstances changed and the reality changed, that's really where he found just his good, sweet spot. And it really does tie in that idea of, we can be concerned with what might be, like, oh, it should be this, or my pose should look like this, or my meditation practice should look like that. But that's a fallacy, because if it should, it would be. We're exactly where we need to be in whatever moment that we're in, even if it's a moment that inspires us to make changes in the future. But right now, we're with what is. And right now we're going to work into some face brushing. So take your index finger and thumb together and go from the center of your forehead outwards towards your temples a few times. And from the sides of your nose out to your temples, on your cheekbones. And from the temples down to your chin, on your jawline. And then the sides of the nose down to the chin along your laugh lines. Massaging underneath and behind your ears. and lifting up from that bony spot that's right behind your ears. Seeing if any more unraveling, any more extension takes place as you continue to lift up from this point. And then take another nice big breath in. And then exhale, drop your hands down into your lap. See if you can still feel that ascension from right at the back of the skull, at the backs of the ears. And just take a few deep breaths. Just noticing what's going on in your body or in your headspace right now. If we were to examine this principle of to be like the count or the former count, and to find peace and adaptation to what is, we find ourselves working towards contentment and a surrender to that which is greater than us, that which is out of our control. Santosha, ishvara, pranidhana. I'll start with ohms. If you want to just release like a death metal growl or a big breath, that's absolutely fine too. First, take a big breath in through your nose. Big sigh through the mouth. And do that again. For 3 ohms. And then we're going to start, first thing in our practice today is going to be to use either a yoga block if you have them, or I mentioned like that stack of books that might be about 6 inches tall. So I've got my block on its middle setting. You'll try to find something maybe about that high that you would use. And you're going to take this and you're going to bring it into the occipital ridge of your skull. So right at the very, very back of your head, there's like that kind of crater-like space. Right, the ropey parts of your neck where those come up towards your skull. You want to get right up there at the top of the ropey parts, and you line up the edge of the block, and you can, do whatever you want with your legs. It's just usually easiest just to hang out like so. And then once you find like that spot where your head's just resting against this block, you're going to start gently and slowly turning your head side to side. And you don't need to have like a specific rhythm or pace to it. And you get to pause in a spot if you like get to a point where something says, yes, this spot, I need a little bit more of this spot. Then listen to that. Hang out in that spot. And then it starts to not feel quite as intense. Maybe start moving towards another spot. And you can, of course, just hang out, flat in the middle. At some point, we all might find ourselves just kind of hanging out flat in the middle and just allowing yourself to sink into the floor and to rest the weight of your head against the ledge that you have created with your books or your stack of records or stocks of cards, I don't know, whatever you're using here. We'll be here for about 3 more nice, long, deep breaths. And then you're going to want to take your head, just kind of lift it up a little bit. You're going to move whatever you had underneath your head out of your way, and then just go ahead and slide back down flat on the floor. Maybe wiggle your head around a little bit slowly, just examining how just that sitting with the prop has changed the feeling around your head and neck. Start to slide your legs out long if they haven't been already. You want to separate your feet a little bit wider than your hips, so you can think of about as wide as your mat space. And then your arms are going to open out behind you a little bit wider than your mat, or a little bit wider than your shoulders. Just reach out through all 4 of these limbs. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, let your body soften. Try that 2 more times. See if you can open up a little bit more with every inhale, and then fully commit to softness as you exhale. Again, breathing in. Really let it go. Breathe out. And then you're going to take your right ankle and just move it over on top of your left ankle. And what tends to happen is the right hip lifts up. Relax it down. It's okay if it doesn't get there, but you're going to give it the freedom to release back down towards the floor. And then you're going to take your right wrist over to your left hand, and you're going to hold on to the right wrist with your left hand and try to soften the inside of your shoulder, the inside of your armpit. So the outer armpit is getting a nice big stretch. Allowing your right hip to be heavy in the direction of, if not into the floor. Big inhale. Big exhale. One more time, big breath in. Maybe reach a little bit more in that arm. Exhale, soften it. Move your right arm over to the right side again, the right leg out to the right side again, just noticing the difference in between these spaces. And then taking your left ankle over on top of your right ankle and your left hand over to be held onto with your right hand. Soften the inner left shoulder, release your left hip to the ground. That constant dialogue I feel I'm having with that inner shoulder in this place, but it always feels like a worthwhile conversation to have. One more big breath in. Exhale. Release the hold of your left arm so you can open it up. Open up your left leg, just kind of hanging out and noticing the difference in between the spaces now, because it's still never perfectly symmetric, but whatever, that's what it is. And then bringing your knees up and into your chest, giving yourself a little rock around, allowing the lower back to release. You can come to stillness whenever you like. You can keep rocking as long as you like. Then you're going to open your arms out. Let your knees roll over towards the right, just as tight as you want it to be. It doesn't have to be very tight. I want you to push down in the back of your right arm, so you're going to wiggle that left shoulder more open. And if your head can manage it, can you look over towards your left fingertip? You can look straight up if this is uncomfortable. if the turn of your head works to rotate all the way through the spine. Soften your belly every time you breathe out. One more round of breath. And look back up. Take your knees back up. Roll them over towards the left side. You'll push down to the back of your right arm, or your left arm, sorry, and that's going to allow your right arm to open up a little bit more. And then pick your head up and look over at the right fingertips. You can, of course, close your eyes if you prefer to draw inwards a bit more. Or maybe having your eyes open can be a nice focal point, helping you to concentrate on what you're seeing as well as what you're experiencing. One more exhale. Then looking back up, taking the knees back up and setting the soles of the feet down on the floor. Take your right leg up in the air and start to make some circles with your toes. So spreading them out, rolling around the ankle a bit, articulating the foot, and then working in the other direction, trying to separate your toes, do some weird things with them. And then flex your foot, drawing your toes back towards your face. See if you can get your leg really, really straight, which can be hard to do, especially you're not touching it. You're not going to do anything to help yourself out. You just have to use this muscle right here to push that foot outwards. Take a breath in, take a breath out. And then keep the foot flexed, but bend the knee. Put your right ankle on your left knee. So when you keep the toes drawn up towards your shins, you can stay here. You can use the arms to hold on to the back of your left leg. Relax the left leg. Keep the right foot active. Keep releasing your jaw muscles, so hopefully the collarbones can release as well. I would suggest that instead of trying to get your legs into your chest, try to relax your hips down towards the floor first, and then if there's more space to bring the legs in, you might find it after that. So we have a relaxed back first. And if your neck is like weirdly up like this, you go and grab whatever, something that you had your head on, maybe one of those books or something. You can rest your head, and that's going to help to release some of the tension in the shoulders maybe. Maybe it'll make holding on to those legs a little bit easier. One more breath out. And releasing your left foot down and your right foot down. You'll leave the right foot down. Take that left leg. Oh, no hands. You're going to turn the toes around, drawing some circles with them. See if you can separate and wiggle the toes. And do some drawing and separating in the other direction. Flex your foot, drawing your toes back to your face. See if you can fire up this muscle that's right there above your knee so the leg gets really straight. Notice what else gets fired up and if it's helping, because sometimes things just get fired up out of habit. It's honestly easiest for the body just to be like tense everywhere, but that's not like a super efficient use of energy. One more exhale. Keep the foot flexed, bend the knee, put the left ankle on the right knee, stay here, or grab onto the right leg and relax the right foot, but not the left foot. Relax your jaw muscles, your collarbones are allowed to separate and soften. The hips relax towards the floor. Head is released into the floor. Breath stays as steady as you can manage. Big exhale. And you're going to release your right foot down and your left foot down and start to slide your legs out long, reach your arms back up and overhead. Getting really long and strong as you breathe in. Exhale, let it all go. Again, like that, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then one more on our backs here. You're going to take the feet back in. Take your right leg, you're going to slide it into that little like tent that your left leg has made. So it's in between your left foot and your left hip. If you need to lift this hip up, totally fine. If you can get the hip down with the knee down, also good. What you might do is move your right knee a little bit closer to your left foot to increase this. What you might do is take your right arm behind your head and then you can wiggle your elbow over towards the left a little bit more. I'm using my left hand to hold on to my foot just so that my ankle doesn't have to tense up and work so hard. Keep softening this inner shoulder. One more breath. Start to unwind the right leg, unwind the right arm, slide the left side underneath. Maybe you catch it with your hand. Maybe you move the knee closer to your foot. Over time, this right hip softens down. Maybe the left arm comes back, and maybe it wiggles over towards the right side a little bit more. Few more breaths. Softening into your exhale. And unwind your left arm, unwind your left leg, come back to the center, just let your knees fall against each other. Take 2 deep breaths, just easy and balanced here. And you're going to roll over onto your belly. Turn it all around. We're going to come up in a Sphinx pose. So take your elbows directly underneath your shoulders. So you've got just bone stacking. It shouldn't be super hard to have yourself propped up in this way. If this is a lot, move your elbows a little bit further forward. But I do like the bone stacking. It tends to work out best in the long run. You're going to push down a little bit in your elbows and then feel your collarbones opening up a little bit. It's going to make this a little bit more intense and a little bit more active. Just allowing your collarbones to broaden because they're going to have this tendency to want to shorten to let the shoulder blades come forward or the shoulders come forward. Open those out. Look forward and keep your chest this open as you try to relax your chin down towards your chest. And then on your next exhale, really relax that chin because there's like that, oh, I'm putting my chin forward space, and then there's that, oh yeah, it's really just softening it. One more exhale. And then you're going to look up. Notice what's falling in your chest, see if you can open it up again. And then turn your chin up to stretch the front of your throat. Maybe wiggle your jaw a little bit. Bring your head back to face forward, see if you can broaden the chest again, because of course the more we change our perspective, the more things change in the body. You're going to keep opening the chest. Don't let the left shoulder follow if you can help it. Turn your nose over your right shoulder. One more exhale. Then look forward again. Notice if there's any more opening up that you need to kind of realign there. And then look over your left shoulder. Try not to let the right shoulder follow. Exhale. Look forward again. Notice if there's anything else to balance out. And then one more time, chin down towards the chest. And then really let it go with your next exhale. And then pick your head back up. See what else you can open up. And you're going to slide your elbows out, make a pillow for your head with your hands. Rest your forehead if you can, but it's okay if it's a cheek instead. And keep your head resting. You're going to take your right heel and tuck it in towards your hip. So you're bending your knee and tucking your heel back towards your bum. Then you're going to lift up that thigh off of the floor. Relax your shoulders and see if you can keep the leg lifted as you straighten that leg back behind you and then lower it down. And do it again. Try to relax your shoulders. Same leg. You're going to tuck the heel up towards your bum. Then lift that thigh up off the ground. And then keep the leg that lifted. Maybe as you extend that leg back behind you, make it really long. And then set it down. And another side. Bending into your left leg. Turn the heel up towards your tush. Lift the thigh up. Notice what got unbalanced. See if you can relax anything that got weirdly tight. Straighten that leg. Reach it, reach it. And set it down. And again. Turn the left heel in towards your tush. Lift the thigh up. Straighten the leg. And set it down. And then you're going to do it once with two legs, so turn both heels into your tush, lift the thighs up. It's a little easier to relax the shoulders in this balanced position maybe. And then extend those arms, try to keep the legs lifted. And then set them down. Wow, that was like markedly easier to keep the shoulders even when you have like that balanced position in the body, yeah? Or maybe you had a different experience, you could tell me about that. I'm going to slide your hands in by your low ribs. Leave your legs on the ground for a moment. We're going to come up into cobra pose. And relax your shoulders and your jaw. See if you can get a little bit more open space. And exhale, lower. This time, come up into cobra pose again. Maybe you go up onto fingertips, or maybe you lift your fingertips off of the mat. And then see if you can open your chest again. And then lower it down. And then you're going to come up hands or not hands, lifting your legs in your chest into cobra. It's a little like locust cobra hybrid situation. And drop it down. Then you're going to come up cobra. We're going to try to get those legs off the ground the same way we just did. You're going to turn the heels into your tush, lift the thighs up, then lift the legs. Oh my gosh, the chest opens a lot more. That was a thing. And then lower it down. And we're going to press back into child's pose for a moment. So push yourself up, bring your toes towards each other, separate your knees if that feels better, and then sit back, long spine. Wiggle your hips around a few times and then start to settle into softness. Just done a lot of work, doing a lot of shortening in the back, some engaging, some connecting. Relax it, let it go. One more exhale. And lifting your head up, look forward. Just for fun, see if you can stay really low in your chest and slither forward into cobra pose. So staying low, splash it out, and then lower it down. And because that was probably super awkward, I want you to try it again just to see what happens. Go ahead and push yourself up and back. Look forward, okay? And try to stay low, slither, traveling like the cobra, and then lower it down. Okay, go ahead and look over to your right. You're going to take your left arm out to your side, palm facing down. Rest your head. Roll that right leg back behind you. You can put the foot down or stretch the leg out or reach it out in the air. We're stretching out the front of the left shoulder. Ooh, this one feels good. Yeah. Now relax your head. You're thinking of softening and releasing the front of the shoulder on the left side. Softening and releasing the left side of your neck. One more exhale. Then you're gonna roll back to your belly. Take your right arm out, pull the left one in, look over towards the left, and then you're gonna take that left leg back. So it can be long, it can be dropped, it can be this bendy thing. I need to be a little softer with myself at this point today. Notice where you're holding, notice where you're resisting. Softly allow yourself to lean into this space. Not plunging or demanding anything of the body, but releasing what's holding you back. One more exhale. And then rolling over onto your belly. This time slide both hands and we're going to press back to child's pose. Just another quick visit. Wiggle the hips a little bit. Let your belly soften backwards. Start to pull yourself up. We're going to come up into table pose. We'll be on our knees for a little bit. So if you wanted to grab anything to put underneath a knee to be a little squishier, go for it. Let's take the right foot up first. And you want to make sure you've got your hip a little bit in front of that back knee. It doesn't even need to be quite as much as mine, but try not to be back here. See if you can lean forward or scooch the foot forward a little more. You're going to take your arms up. You're going to hold onto your left wrist with your right hand. And I want you to first think of going forward. We're going to lift up and then keep pushing down in the front foot. Give a little side bend up and over towards the right. Up first though. Exhale. Come up to the center. Just one breath. Reach up and over towards the left. Oh, this is the hard one. And then come back up. And you're going to take your hands and you're going to reach them back behind you. Put them in your imaginary back pockets. And then lift your chest up and forward out of those back pockets. See if you can release your collarbones as the chest opens more. This is not helping with my earbuds. Nice idea. Good. One more exhale. Then you're going to release your arms. You're going to take the opposite elbow on top and either hug your shoulders or wrap up for eagle arms. You're going to release your hips a little bit further forward. Still keep pushing into that front foot. And then lift your elbows up. Maybe lift your gaze up. Stay lifted in your chest. Now pull your elbows down. Look forward. One more breath out. Unwind your arms. Release the hands up. Release your heart up. Maybe release your gaze up. Big inhale. And go ahead and take your hands down. I'm going to pull the right leg back and then bring the left foot forward. A couple variations on this low crescent lunge. We're going to start reaching the arms up. Make sure your hips are in front of your back knee. Hold onto your right wrist. Get taller first. And then from there, reaching up and over towards the left. The opposition will tend to be a lot easier to balance in, and you will improve all of it by pushing down into the front foot. I wiggle, exhale. And then lift up back to the center. One exhale, reach upwards and over towards the right. This one's harder, don't let the hip follow. And then come back up and reach your hands back, placing them in the back part. So now don't just like push the heart forward. We're gonna lift up, roll the shoulders down, and then let the heart open up and forward. Maybe the hips release a little bit further forward if that feels good, and you don't have to. Knee and toe all facing forward. Soften your jaw. Big breath in. Stay there, exhale. Then release, take the opposite arm on top, wrapping up, hugging yourself, or taking eagle arms. And then you're going to reach the elbows and the gaze and the heart up. Try to stay forward in the hips, down in the front foot. Stay lifted in the heart. Draw your elbows down. Bring your gaze to the horizon or the wall. Exhale. And unwind your arms. We'll take them up, lifting the heart up to your fingertips. Big breath in. Exhale. Take it down. I'm going to slide the left leg back. Leave the hips up above the knees this time. Walk the hands forward until your heart melts down towards the floor. You might wiggle your elbows a little bit further in front of you. Try to rest on your forehead if you can. You can stay here. You could come up onto fingertips. Maybe you bend your elbows in closer, or maybe you take palms together and bend your elbows so your thumbs go towards the back of your head. And then you're going to reach out through your elbows and relax your heart down as much as it is willing to go. One more breath out. Then release the hands. Walk them back in. Coming to table pose. Just working through a few cat and cow. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, round the spine, look back. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And a more neutral spine. You're going to take your hands a handprint further forward. Spread your fingers out, curl your toes back to downward facing dog. And try to lift your hips up. In fact, lift up onto your heels. Lift your hips up a little higher, or push your hips up a little higher, and then leave them high as you release your heels back down in the direction of the floor. Relax your head. Big exhale. And see if you can walk your hands back towards your feet. It's a little different. You might come up on a fingertips at some point. You might start bending your knees at some point. Hang on down. If you can bend your knees enough that you can comfortably bring your elbows to, hold your hands on your elbows, you can do that. You sway around a little bit. And release your hands. See if you can roll up, keeping your neck and your head nice and soft. Eventually arriving, standing. But, okay, we're going to go towards a wall space. So you're going to need something that you can put your hand on about shoulder height. And it's going to go a little bit higher than your shoulder at some point. So you're going to take your hand. You're going to bring it just above your shoulder. It's going to be behind you. You're going to take the palm to face back. You're going to stand about a foot away from the wall, so you might get a little bit closer, and then you're going to start walking a little bit further forward. I need to adjust my feet. I want them to be underneath my hip bones. You can even take your outside arm and put your hand at your inside ribs and just gently guide those ribs forward. If you're having a hard time with it, I'm going to walk back a little bit and then try to have your chest facing forward. And then rather than creating a huge stretch in the arm, can you gently press the hand into the wall, like 20% pressure, 15% pressure even. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then turn back towards the wall so you can relax the arm. You're gonna just, come out of it, face, perpendicular to the wall again. You're gonna take your arm, put it on the wall, lean into it, wiggle your hand up further up the wall, and you're gonna lean into the wall. My heel is lifted. So I'm really just leaning into it, and I'm trying to relax this inner shoulder. A continuous dialogue experience here. Exhale. And come away from the wall, relax your arm down. Oh my gosh, it's like longer over here. I'm gonna take the same thing at the other side. So you're gonna turn, you'll be about a foot away from the wall. The hands just slightly above the shoulder, just slightly. I'm gonna gently, maybe you take your hand to the inside ribs, just as a gentle gesture. Not trying to ratchet yourself around, but just giving it that little cue to relax forward. Try to stand with your weight on both feet, and then it's about a 15 or 20% pressure of your palm into the wall. Feeling how that changes the whole sensation around the arm and the chest. One more breath in. Deep breath out. And turn to the wall so you can release your shoulder, and then come back up. And staying pretty much same spacing in your body. You're gonna reach your arm out, walk the fingertips up until you can't anymore. Try to lean into this arm, but you're pressing into the hands. And kind of let your body fall down here. Yeah. Exhale. And then you're gonna release it and come off of it. Where is my, I think I can do it right here. Okay, so I have this thing I can't get right next to the wall, so I need to scooch over here, and I'm probably gonna be weirdly into my plants. Yep, that one's gonna go, and that one's gonna go. Okay. You need to find a place where you can get your butt on the wall and your heels on the wall. And probably not a lot else is gonna be on the wall. You're gonna take your arms up, knock every tea light off, and you're gonna reach your thumbs back to the wall, get them higher on the wall. Now push your feet down and see if you can draw your belly button back towards the wall. More so than that, see if you can get your hips and your ribs closer together here. This is very hard. If you wanted to do something really fun, you knock more things off the wall, and then grab your block or a book or something, and you're gonna try to get the block back to the wall, and then reach that up higher and bring your body back towards the wall. People are going to grab the things. That's awesome. You don't have to grab the thing. It's hard enough to be here as it is. Can you soften your inner shoulders still while you reach the hands out and try to bring the front of the hips and the ribs towards each other and push your feet down to the floor, and then hopefully you're still breathing. You might even be shaking a little at this point. One more breath out. And then let it go. Knocking everything off, just tea lights everywhere. It's a good thing they're not real. They're not wax. Okay. Then you're still by the wall. I've got one more thing for you. This one's good. I usually love this one. Right? Down dog against the wall. So I'm gonna show from the side rather than showing you my butt. I'm gonna have my hands a little bit higher than or maybe down to my hips. Yeah. I'm gonna come out, so I create this L shape with my body. Make sure your index fingers point up. Feet are about hip width apart, and then you push from the outsides of the armpits into your hands, and then your hips drift back into the center of the room. Release your head, ears away from your shoulders. You can bend your knees a little bit if your hammies are feeling tight, and then maybe you can reach your hips back a little bit more. And then maybe eventually you start to straighten the legs. And you're pushing your hands out of the walls from the armpits. I could stay here forever. One more exhale. And then start to lift yourself up, walk to the wall, and come up off of it. Okay. Fun stuff, huh? Okay. I'm gonna take probably a block, or if you want to be closer to your couch or what have you, do a little standing balancing before we do a little bit more standing stretching. So we're gonna go in a half moon. I've been doing a lot of open space around the shoulder, opening everything in both directions. Maybe you're gonna feel more open in the chest. So okay. I'm gonna say right side, you're gonna start there. Having Put your block or your object that you might be using, bring it about a clown shoe's distance or more than your foot away from your foot, and like a little bit over towards the right side if you're standing on your right leg. Just a little bit over. You're gonna turn your left toes out. You can bend this leg, that's okay. You're gonna stand up on it, lift and extend through the heel of that foot. This leg is straight, so it's active, right? You should feel your butt engaged, and you can even hold it to make sure. And then you're gonna reach from your heart into both hands without any of your limbs going back behind you. Oh my gosh. Good. Ears out of your shoulders. Lengthen that lifted leg. Reach out from your heart to that upper arm. And then bend your knee 2 feet down. Stand it up. Okay. Stop. On the other side. I did say you can bend the standing leg, especially we haven't done a ton of hamstring stuff, so if you're feeling a little tight there, that's what you do. It's about a clown shoe, and then I want it just behind the foot, so nothing has to go behind me to get out of alignment. I'm gonna put my hand down. This leg though, make it long and straight. It should feel a little tense. Should feel a little tense. If it's back behind you, your back's gonna feel tense, so you wanna bring it just slightly in front. Open up. Leg is active, the heart is active out into the hands. Release the ears from your shoulders. And maybe even still breathing. Breathing in again. As you exhale, bend it, drop it down, and then take yourself on up. Just bringing your feet about hip width apart. We'll do a quick little neck stretch again. Take your hands behind your back. Bring your hands towards the left side of your waist. I'll mirror you. Lift the fronts of your hips up so your back is long. Both elbows and shoulders drop back. And then your left ear drops towards your left shoulder. Take 2 breaths. Keep lifting the fronts of your hips. Your next exhale, it's the nose that goes down towards your shoulder. Take 2 breaths. Your second exhale, the chin goes down towards your chest. And on an inhale, lift your head up and release your arms over towards the other side. So take this down. And then your ear goes over towards your shoulder. Both elbows are going back and the fronts of your hips are lifting up again. On another exhale, your nose is going to go down towards your shoulder. Stay there 2 breaths. On another exhale, your chin goes down towards your chest. And on an inhale, lift everything back up. And release your arms. We're going to take your feet, bring them together, reach your arms up, make steeple fingers or Vira Mudra, get up nice and tall, and then go up and over towards the right side, lifting the fronts of your hips so you can get longer across your back too. One more inhale. Stay there. Exhale, maybe get a little bit deeper. And then come up and over towards the left side. Still lift the front of your hips so the back lengthens. You have more room to extend. One more inhale and then stay there as you exhale, or maybe go deeper. Reach up to the center, release your arms, separate your feet about hip width again. You're going to reach the right or the left fingertips out and then drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. If it feels okay, turn your palm forward and then rotate the arms, the palm turns back and turn it forward and rotate. And once more. Relax your arm, lift your head up, and then reaching your right fingertips out, drop your left ear to your left shoulder. So reaching, maybe the arm rotates, the palm faces forward, and then back. A couple times if you like. And then release the arm and take your head back up. Wiggle whatever might have gotten sticky at this point. Oh, good. And just a couple more standing spaces for us to go into. We're gonna take warrior one. Let me do this. Yeah, okay. Take your legs out wide, shift to warrior one on the right side. Do it on the, whatever. Mirror me here, warrior one. My goodness. Okay, so your front leg, whichever one that one is, that's the arm we're gonna, no, it's not. Right, left, this way, that way. Okay, let's start warrior one, and I'll work from here. So you're on warrior one on whatever side this is, where you're mirroring me here, or you've got your right leg, whatever it is. The back leg, that's the elbow you're gonna bend. You're gonna hold on to that elbow. You're gonna lift that elbow up, then soften your inner shoulder so the outer arm is lifted up. And then you're gonna lift up in a little side bend over towards the front leg side. How's that for unclear? Exhale. And then come on up. You're gonna release your arms back behind you, interlace your fingers, and come forward. Humble warrior, pulling that front hip towards the back foot, and then try to relax your head. If you want to open your chest more, bend your elbows and then re-straighten them. Yeah. One more exhale. Then release your arms, come back to warrior one, lifting up nice and long. And then we're going to open out into warrior two, so you're going to have to adjust your back foot. The peaceful warrior, still with that front leg bent without it going anywhere. Lift your heart up to that elbow. Now see if you can take this top hand, rest your head back in it. An interesting dialogue to have with a tense region like the neck in a weird place like this. Breathe out. Make sure you've got your control of your head again. We're going to take the arm up and reach it forward, take the elbow down. And then the top arm goes up and over, side angle. Push into that back foot. Really get that outer hip. Make sure this hip didn't go back behind you, that it's still going down towards your bottom foot, and that you're not sinking into your shoulder, that you're lifted. Exhale. And take it all the way up. And we do the whole thing on the other side. So starting with warrior one. So you can adjust in your space however you like. Because apparently I don't know what's going on either. So I've got front leg bend, I've got this widthwise space, and then reaching the arms up, warrior one. I'm gonna get up a little bit taller, and then bend into the back leg elbow. Hold on to the elbow, reach it up and over. Notice my lower body stayed pretty stable. I'm getting taller on that side, softening the inner shoulder as much as I'm able. Come on up, release your arms, interlace your fingers, open the chest, take that open chest forward on the inside of your leg. If you want to get more chest opening, bend the elbows and then re-straighten them once you're down there. See how much farther that goes? Realigning body parts while they are experiencing gravity from a different angle. Experiencing the body in a different angle. Alignment of ourselves differently. One more exhale, release that head if you can. Release your arms, come back to warrior one. Big inhale, get taller. Stay tall, open it up to warrior two. Notice the back leg adjusting and then fidgeting around a whole bunch. Peaceful warrior, take it up, not back. Up. And then let the hand hold the head. See if you can really let the neck muscles allow the hand to hold the head. One more exhale. You gotta make sure you're holding onto your head again, but not too tightly. Reach forward, bring your elbow down and the arm up and over. And I don't mean like really hold onto your head, because that's the whole idea about relaxing the neck. It's always holding onto your head, but just making sure that you're not gonna let it fall off of your shoulders or anything, or drop. Oh, push into that back foot. Oh, yes. Exhale. Come on up. I turn all 10 toes to face forward, come into a forward fold. Relax your head, wiggle things out if you like. Now you're gonna wiggle your feet in a little bit closer. You can start bending your knees at any time, so just a little bit closer, not a huge amount closer. And if you can keep the weight on your feet, maybe you walk your fingertips out further in front of you. Keep the weight in your feet, not in your fingers. You should not be going over towards your hands. Stand on your feet, not your hands. Standing on your hands is hard. Bring your feet in a little closer. If you wanted to, like, I don't know, if you've got a handstand practice and you wanted to do that, whatever, we've done a lot of stuff that would open you up for that if that's your jam. But if you're like, no, great, don't do that. Stand on your feet. Okay, feet a little bit closer again. This might be where many of us start to bend our knees. That's what you do when you need it. Giving yourself a response that is kind to your body where it is at right now. And then maybe you work towards straightening the legs after a time. We're going to keep moving the feet inwards little bit by little bit until they get about hip width distance apart. Reaching the hips up and back. If the arms are still out, they are reaching out, not falling into them. One more exhale. And then bend your knees, see if you can roll up with a nice relaxed spine. All right. I'm going to come towards the front of your mat space if you've been elsewhere. Yeah. Just coming up, feet about hip width apart. We're going to travel back to a quick down dog and then child's pose. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale, forward fold, soften what you need to, soften what you can. Halfway up, lengthen that spine, lengthen your hamstrings. And then bend the knees, bring the hands down, press down into them nice and strong as you walk your feet back into downward dog. Feel your hips lifting up. In fact, lift those heels up. Feel your hips get higher. Try to feel them stay high as you release your heels down. So yes, the hips change, but they're still long up off of your ribs. And then we'll all come down child's pose. You want to bring your knees closer together. If you want to bring your arms down by your sides, if you want to make any modifications, please do that. Stay here in softness for 3 nice, easy breaths. Your hands back in. There it is. Okay. Now, many people do not have yoga blocks around, but some of you do, and some of you might occasionally come to a point where you've got something that's about this, like, you know, foamy, light, whatever the heck, or like a foam roller that's about in this space. I'm going to show a couple of things, and we will also do a couple of things without these things if it's not quite the right size and shape for you. So we're going to do a little bit of dolphin work, a little bit of maybe at the wall, shoulder opening stuff. And so you've got a lot of opportunity to, maybe if you don't want to do some of that stuff, if your shoulders are feeling a little cranky, you can take your stuff and you can do the neck smushies that we did at the beginning, where you just laid your head at the edge and like rolled it around. You're like, oh, this feels fabulous. Can we do this forever? Yeah, you can do that again. Just a little bit of stuff here before we start to wrap up and take it down. So we're going to do dolphin pose. I want you to take your elbows down. You're going to touch your elbows with your fingers. And then you're going to keep your elbows there and not let them widen out at all as you take your palms down facing forward. Forearm plank. And then you're going to push down, broaden your collarbones. And then you're going to curl your toes under. So see how I'm pretty close in here? I'm going to curl the toes under into dolphin. Most people find it easier to bring the feet in and then bend the knees in order to open up at the shoulders here. Let your head relax down. It probably doesn't touch, but it could. And then relax your knees down. It can be easier, but then sometimes the elbows splay out. But it can be easier. I'm going to touch my elbows again just to be sure. To make your hands into a little clasp here, I like to untuck the pinky finger. So instead of having it crossed under where there's pressure, I untuck that bottom pinky finger. And then it's like a little basket that your head kind of sort of comes to, but not really. And come back up into dolphin. I find I have so much more space here because my arms are working so much less hard through the palms. We've got, of course, lots of arm balances that come from this kind of strength in different positions. And then come on down. And you can come kind of in and out of dolphin pose. You can do that a few times. I'm going to show one thing with the block. Some of you may have seen this before. So if you're like, oh man, I love that thing we do with the block, you'll do it that way. So if you've got a block, you see here, the very smallest edge is where I hold my hands. And then the thinnest edge goes against the wall. Not this one. The thin one. Yes. I'm trying to like not show it at the wall. So the flattest edge faces up. You want to hold on to it that way. And if you've got wall space, you can do it. I've got my speaker. That's the only thing I can go up against. This is weird. You're going to crawl underneath your thing and then get right up, elbows against the thing. And then you got to get the flat edge onto the wall, right in between your palms. If you're like, what the heck, April, you can ask me about this later. We can totally like visit it again when I can get in there more with you, or just go back to the dolphin or neck smushies. If you're still with me here, or you've done this before, elbows against the wall, long edge against the wall. You're gonna come up into dolphin, pressing your shoulder blades against the block and the wall, and then you're either going to be nigh on climax from enjoyment, or you're gonna hate it and you're gonna come down. That's okay. A lot of us love this. A lot of people do not. You get to have your own experience in it, and that experience might be ending this experience and doing something else. I would like to stay here for 5 days, but I'm gonna let it go. And especially since I'm using a speaker that's falling over and not the wall, but by all means, please ask me all of the things about that. We can like check in with that when we're done and we're wrapping up. I know this platform is a little odd for that, but we can go ahead and set that to the side. We're gonna come down onto our backs, coming back from wherever you have gone to. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock around a little bit. Feeling all that back space, massage into the mat, into the floor. And taking happy baby, feet go up, reaching to hold onto the big toes of the outsides of the feet. And then releasing your feet, bringing the knees back in together. You're going to keep holding onto your right leg, drop your left foot down, and then slide the left leg out as much as you can. If you need to hold onto the back of your right thigh instead of the knee at this point, do that. If you can get the left leg straight, I want you to start flexing the foot and pressing out through the sole of the left foot, and try to relax your right leg, which is very much like patting your head and rubbing your stomach, because you would think that you want to be focusing on this one. I actually want you to use this to lengthen the front of this hip. It's a little different. You're working the left leg, relaxing the right leg. It's fine if the leg doesn't get still completely straight. You can still push out through that foot and you'll feel this open a bit. Exhale. And bring the left leg in, hold on to it somewhere, extend the right leg out. Once it gets close to straight, you're pushing the foot outwards and relaxing that left hip. One more exhale. And bring the right leg in, set the feet down, open the knees, maybe take your hands to the outsides of your thighs for support, or do just one leg at a time. You can also just let yourself soften down here, maybe wiggle the shoulders underneath the back. We'll be here for about 2 more breaths if you need to even yourself out to the other leg. And bring the knees back together. So heels up kind of close to the hips. You're going to take your right leg and cross it over your left leg. And then you push down in your left foot to hop your hips a little bit over towards the right. Then as you go into this twist, the spine is still aligned, much like that. And open your arms to a T or a cactus shape. Maybe you wiggle with the left shoulder to bring the right shoulder more open. Maybe you look over towards the right. Maybe you look over towards the left. You can choose, test both, see which feels better. One more exhale. And start to unwind your legs. Take the head back to center, take the legs back to center, take the hips back to center. And then slide your left thigh on top, push down into the right foot, hips hop over towards the left slightly, knees go over towards the right, look up or to your right or to your left. Choose one. You get to maybe experiment a little bit until you find the right spot. One more exhale. Unwinding your legs, bring them back to center, the hips back to center, the head back to center, the dog back to center. And then if there's something else you need at the end of your practice, you can of course go there if you want to take legs up against the wall or a seated meditation instead. And keep knees bent or extend outwards into corpse pose. Maybe wiggle the shoulders underneath your back to allow the heart to be softly open. Settling into this next several minutes of rest. starting to come back to your breath. There's this really nice peace that we often feel after Shavasana, after this time where we practice surrender, where even if, the mind may have gone to other places, and even if we weren't perfectly still, we're still very much here in this moment, and we have that softness, that peace, that contentment, that santosha. We find that easy peace when we give ourselves over to the present, to the moment, to the reality, the truth. And keeping as much of that with you as you can, eventually rolling over to one side in gratitude for this practice and doing this good work for yourself, spending this time together. And taking yourself up when you're ready into your own version of a comfortable seat, which means you find something that works in your body and it doesn't need to look like me or anyone else. Bringing your hands to your heart, allowing your heart to rise and open. You still practice releasing an Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to the love, the light, and the darkness that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thank you, friends. Everybody type bless you when I sneezed. You're great. Let me know if you have questions or need anything. I know like some of that block work was a little weird, but thanks, Rachel. That's great. Have fabulous days. I don't know why I can't hear anyone. So here's the thing. I've got I'm gonna put in my, so this first one is my PayPal email, and if you only do Venmo, I have that too. And or if you Cash App, kind of all the things. Thank you so much, Anton. Yeah, those are my things, and you're all awesome, and I'm very glad that you're here. I appreciate all of you contributing and participating because it makes it fun to see all of the people on the thing. Very good. Yeah. Share the stuff. I'll see you next week. Let me know if you have questions about anything.
Have a great week, April.
Hey. Bye, Victoria and Marco.
See you next week.
Thanks, Rachel. Take care. Yeah. Yeah, Anton, it's yogakindarocks.com.